It was my son's 18th birthday. I should have felt proud. Instead, I was scrolling through social media out of habit, passing the time in this sterile rehabilitation suite, when I paused on a post from one of Blake's classmates' parents. Thanks to my kid, I got invited to his buddy's birthday party. I couldn't help but smile. It warmed me to see Blake making more friends and expanding his social circle. I'd been gone for so long, fighting through therapy and surgeries, always worried that the distance would affect him. But seeing this, even secondhand, made me feel like things were finally okay. However, as I examined the photo more closely, a sense of unease crept into my chest. The party was extravagant, held at our family's villa, no doubt about it. But the boy at the center of it all, I didn't recognize him. He was smiling, confident, completely at ease, as if he belonged. Yet what truly stopped me cold was the suit. I froze. It was the custom-made $1 million suit I had personally designed for my son's coming of age. The embroidery, the precise cut, and the golden thread woven through the lapel were unmistakable. That suit was meant for my son. So, who the hell was that wearing it? A strange tension gripped my chest. I opened the home surveillance feed immediately. My hands were steady, but my heart was hammering like a war drum. And there, I saw a stranger standing proudly under crystal chandeliers, holding a mic, beaming as he introduced a man beside him. This is my dad, the chairman of Knightley Industries. But I barely heard the rest. My eyes locked on the scene unfolding behind them. My son, forced to his knees, he was shoved by a group of teenagers as the cake splattered onto the floor in front of him. To further degrade him, they forced him to lick the frosting off the marble tiles like an animal. Something inside me snapped. Cold rage settled deep in my chest. The boy called that imposter the chairman of Knightley Industries? Then who the hell was I supposed to be? At the rehabilitation center, my executive assistant handed me a bouquet and smiled as he congratulated me. Chairman, I'm glad to see you're doing better. You should be able to leave the hospital in a few days. I nodded, managing a polite smile. Eager to share the good news, I picked up my phone. But as I was scrolling, something caught my eye. It was a post from Harold's dad, Luis, on my son's classmate's social feed. I had kept my identity hidden from the other parents, believing it would help my son fit in better. And today, of all days, was his birthday. The venue and the birthday boy's outfit in Luis's video looked oddly familiar. A closer look confirmed it was my house. What was even stranger was that the $1 million suit I had bought for my son was now being worn by someone else. I furrowed my brow. This wasn't just any suit. I designed it as a coming-of-age gift for my son, Blake, with intricate gold thread embroidery that was worth a fortune. It costs more than some CEOs make in a year. I spared no expense because that's what fathers do for their sons. A shadow crossed my eyes, and I grabbed my phone to call my butler, Elliot Hawk. Elliot picked up immediately. Sir? Elliot, I said, trying to calm my voice. Where's my son right now? What's going on? He's hosting a birthday party with his classmates, Elliot replied. He said he likes the gifts you sent him. They're having cake now, and he said he'll call you back later. I hesitated, my grip tightening on the phone. Where is the party being held? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. There was a pause in the line. At the estate, sir. Of course. My house, my son, my suit. And yet, I had to learn about it from someone else's post, like some uninvited outsider. Then, I ended the call without any further questions. Maybe I was overthinking it, but the suspicion growing inside me couldn't be ignored. Unable to shake the feeling, I messaged Luis directly. After a long pause, Luis replied, Gabriel, we parents don't usually get involved in the kids' business. Besides, we don't understand these things. I didn't even have time to finish forming a reply before the screen notified me. User has blocked you. Coward. That was all the proof I needed. My suspicions weren't just some paranoid delusion. With that, I called my son's homeroom teacher. Hello, Mr. Charles, this is Blake's father. I wanted to ask about my son's recent situation. The man on the other end sounded irritated. You're Blake's father? Why are you only calling now? I'm his new homeroom teacher. Mr. Charles has already left. So much time had passed. After 2 years overseas fighting for my life, the world quietly moved on without me. But what the teacher said next left no room for doubt. Sir, I'm unsure if I should say this, but... He hesitated, then continued, his tone laced with judgment. As the butler's son, Blake was lucky the chairman, Mr. Knightley, pulled strings to get him into this school. Honestly, I didn't expect him to be so ungrateful. The boy has been skipping classes constantly, and his tuition for this semester still hasn't been paid. He paused, then scoffed. Why can't he be more like the chairman's real son? With that, the teacher hung up, his contempt lingering in the silence. I nearly crushed the phone in my hand. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was theft. How could I not know that I had become the butler? Someone had taken my sons and my identities, swapping us out for an imposter. I let out a bitter laugh, my anger rising like a wave, and immediately booked a flight home. I needed answers. I need to figure out what in the hell was going on. I didn't care how long I'd been gone or how much rehab I had left. What I needed wasn't rest. It was answered. By 6 in the evening, I was walking out of the airport, luggage in tow. It was time to see who this chairman was, the one who had appeared out of nowhere and taken over everything. Everyone was visibly shocked to see me when I arrived at the office. Eyes widened. Whispers rippled through the halls like static. Sir Gabriel, what brings you back so suddenly? Someone stammered, clearly rattled. I didn't bother replying. Let them speculate. Because, in the end, they knew. No matter how strict Roxanne acted, she was just a figurehead. The real chairman, the one who had built everything from the ground up, was me. They could pretend otherwise in my absence, but now I was here, and pretending was over. Right then, she appeared. Roxanne. Her heels clicked too fast, and her posture was too stiff. Her skirt, usually razor-pressed, creased at the sides. She was rattled, and that amused me more than it should have. "Honey, why are you back so suddenly?" she asked, voice overly sweet, brittle at the edges. I smiled faintly. Stepping closer, my fingers gently adjusted Roxanne's collar, almost affectionately. "You changed your perfume?" I said coolly. "That's strange. This smells like men's cologne." A flicker of panic crossed her eyes. Barely a second, but I caught it. De Verre. Their newest launch, retailing at over 10 grand bottles. It's not something the average man could afford or casually spill. Her answer came quickly. "It's because of our son," she said, a little too fast. "He's grown up and cares about his image now." I helped him pick out a fragrance, but on the way out, he dropped it, and it spilled on me. She gave a soft, almost indulgent laugh. "That child really is spoiled rotten," she added as if she were comforting me, her voice laced with a false sense of affection. "Is that so?" I said, my voice cool and dripping with disbelief. I stared at her, my smile gone. My eyes drifted back to my phone as I scrolled through his photos again. That boy, the one in Blake's suit, wearing Blake's watch, Blake's tie clip. Every single gift I had brought back from overseas. It was like watching someone wear my son's skin. Showing my phone to her, I asked, "Roxanne, how did the things I personally bought for my son end up on Elliot's grandson?" I paused, bitterness creeping in. "Cyrus, isn't it? Don't tell me it's a coincidence. Every item is custom, one of a kind." A hint of sarcasm flickered in my eyes. My assistant, David Johnson, had already run the boy's background. Cyrus was the grandson of our butler, Elliot Hawke. I smirked. Elliot had raised him well. No wonder people had been mistaking him for the eldest son of the Knightley family. Roxanne's eyes flickered with panic as she saw me pull out the photos. But she quickly composed herself, her gaze hardening with disapproval. "It's like this," she said, tone overly casual. "Elliot's getting older. He asked Cyrus to help out. The boys are close like brothers. They've been living and eating together these past 2 years." She even smiled. "Honey, isn't it normal for brothers to share things?" I stared at her for a moment before letting out a bitter laugh. Normal? Was this normal? Just then, her phone rang. She glanced at the screen, and her expression darkened. She looked at me, her panic rising. "Honey, why did you freeze my bank card?" Ignoring her question, I tilted slightly and asked, "Roxanne, where did you send our son's tuition money?" Her mouth opened in protest. "It's Blake. He doesn't want to study. He's been fighting and causing trouble at school. If you don't believe me, ask him." I could feel my frustration rising, but I kept my voice calm. "I'll investigate this." Then I turned and walked away. I didn't have to ask her another question. Everything was already clear. Blake had always been quiet but focused and ambitious. When he was younger, he always begged me to sign him up for various extracurricular classes, saying they were essential for socializing when he grew up.